A country that has an AK-47 gun in its flag. What do you think about its people? Let's find out. We are joined by Stella Jaqueta, who is a supply chain management professional based in Mozambique. This is also a country which has all the vowels in its name. You're listening to Rocklaz Radio, and this is your host, Tanmay Shah. Please let me know about your favorite part of this episode in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcast and Spotify, do drop your stars in the reviews. Let's rock, lads. I was looking forward to speak from a person from Mozambique for a very long time. I used to play rugby. In one of my team members was from Mozambique. After that happened,
Really?
yeah,
Ah, nice.
he had come here as a student. So yeah, it was a college team.
I can
That's how.
imagine, but yeah, I'm here.
And let me share my screen and show you. Like since I was small, what is the word I relate to? Uh, check this. There's a fruit called Mozambique in India, which means
Really?
sweet lime. So it's called Mozambique, and that's so close to your country's name, Mozambique. So
Yeah,
Mozambique.
I like that it's a
So
sweet lime. So it's like mixture of sweet and sour.
yeah,
Ah,
absolutely.
great.
Sweet people.
You learn something new every day.
And yeah, this is from Myanmar. We are going to Mozambique. Here it
Woohoo.
is, to the north of South Africa and touching the Indian Ocean. Where are you
Yes.
joining us from? Maputo
I'm
or
joining.
which region?
Yes, I'm from the capital city of Maputo. So here's where
Yes,
I'm joining from.
this is Maputo. All right,
Beautiful
let's.
beaches. Beautiful
Oh,
beaches.
yeah. I've seen those colors. They're so turquoise blue in color.
I know.
It's really
Yes.
amazing to see.
Yeah.
So, what is your most favorite part about your country?
I know it's cliche, but the people from Mozambique are warm. You can feel it when you arrive. Like even people who have been here, who have been, let's say, expats, tourists, like they look forward to coming to Mozambique because the people are warm, they're welcoming. It's a very, how can I say, it's a very loving feeling among the people. We do have our problems, but which country doesn't have its problems? But one of the things that I really enjoy and I love, and I know I'm biased, but the people of Mozambique are just the best there are there.
Amazing. Really nice to hear. They are. So, it proves the point, right? Sweet lime, sweet.
Exactly.
Like Mozambique.
Yeah.
People of Mozambique are like Mozambique. Let's go.
A nice catch.
This is the turquoise beach that we're talking about. We have a lot of sea life and good place to snorkels
Yes.
there, right?
Yes, there's private islands as well. It's just like imagine, I think it's 2,300 kilometers of coastal land. So you can imagine it's beaches everywhere, coastal
Wow.
prawns. Like imagine the seafood. Just imagine the seafood. It's amazing and to die for. So, like if you're listening and if you ever wish to come to Mozambique, this is your opportunity. Like as Sanmay is displaying right there, it's like top notch in terms of activities, beach just to relax. If you just want a serene, peaceful place to relax and enjoy yourself, this is the place to be.
It's so scenic and so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said fish. What is your favorite food?
Well, my favorite food or like the country's favorite food?
Both. Tell us both.
My favorite food. I don't know how to explain it in English because, again, our official language is Portuguese.
Uh huh.
But I love caril de amendoim. I don't know. It's like peanut curry, but it's not like the same way you may think about it, with vegetables. I like peanut curry with vegetables. It's very nice. I love it. I really love the how the grilled chicken is done, because there's a special seasoning that goes in frango azambeziana. If you're right there and you're like, what? Just Google it. Frango azambeziana. You be my like when you come and you go to a restaurant, please ask for frango azambeziana. You're
Can you spell
welcome.
it? I'll just show to the audience right away.
Yes, as
Mm-hmm.
FRANGO and then
Mm-hmm.
dash A dash ZAMBEZIANA. I know it's a long word.
Is this the right option?
Let's see. Google correct me if I was wrong. There you go.
So
Yes,
it looks
that's
like
with some chili. That chicken with some chili, my friend, it's amazing.
a
So
roasted chicken with peanut gravy.
yeah.
You'll forget peanut butter after having peanut gravy, it looks like.
Yes, you'll forget about it. A lot of the a lot of the fast foods, because like yeah, people do fast foods here, but it's not like this. This is like home, like comfort food. You go to a restaurant and you ask for that. So
Hmm.
this is amazing. So whoever tries this, they're always like wanting for more. So I'm proud of those dishes. I'm proud to
Even
be recommending them.
even though I'm hungry, I mean, even though I had my dinner, I'm feeling hungry looking at this.
I don't blame you. Even I'm starting to get hungry.
Couple of other fun facts that I searched was if Mozambique is the name country's name which is the longest. It has the most alphabets in it.
Really.
And not just
Yeah, and
that.
I would think, and I would with the same. I think it has a lot, all of the vowels, right? A,
Yeah.
E. Yeah, it has all of the vowels in the name.
What a
Yeah.
unique name.
And yeah, it is a unique name. I think it was given, and I don't want to make a mistake here. I think it was an Arab merchant who first arrived in the island of Mozambique, in like up north of Mozambique in an island, and then since they were trading, spices at those time, so they named the island after him. So that's why the country also got the name of this Arab trader. Yeah.
Hmm. And it's very interesting to see a country get its freedom so late, like in 1975, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
from Portuguese, you have been a colony of the Portuguese.
yeah.
How do your parents look at it, or what are the memories from that time,
Well,
before
my
and after
parents,
independence?
yeah, and I have I think two sides, because like for example, my dad was born like in after 1960. So he was still born when Mozambique was still a colony. And the thing is that he went to study outside of the country. So even during those battle moments or war moments that were occurring, he didn't participate much in it because he was studying outside of the country. And then also my mom was born like almost like when 1971, so it's like close to 1975,
Hmm.
so she was a baby. So she didn't understand, I can say, up until independence was claimed. So
What about your
it
grandparents?
oh, those ones are OG. I remember them telling me stories of like they would hide in the bushes, because also after the independence there was, those time the time of reconstruction, but also there was the 16-year war, the civil war inside Mozambique. So it was still war up until 1992. So they would still, run and go and hide, go and fight safety, because the different political parties were fighting against each other for power. So it was a difficult time, but it's amazing to see how they've survived, and now they're thriving out of it. It's a story to tell. I can say.
Mm.
And I'm glad that I don't have to live in a country that is war torn, and I appreciate it in a whole nother level.
Yeah, we were just talking in the previous episode with guests from Myanmar, Burma. There's a civil
Mm.
war going on, the longest running civil war. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you have come out of it and it's been a peace for more than 20, 30 years. That's nice.
Yes.
And that brings me to another point. I guess this is the only flag which has a
A
gun on
gun.
it, AK-47.
Yes, that's the only country that has a gun in it.
Why? What does it mean?
Well, it's I don't want to speak to the people on behalf of the people who did it. I think they had their great reasons to having it, but I think it's a symbol of strength. That we will defend our country against, and that's part of our anthem. We will defend our country against enemies,
Hmm.
against foreign forces. So if they come against and tear our peace, we will show them guns. But it's, yeah, I think it's from that. It's a symbol of strength to say, and a symbol of, like, we are there for each other, and we will defend our country at the best of our abilities, the same way that we have the I think what's it called, this instrument, the other one, it's an axe, no, it's
Yeah,
not
the
an axe.
farming. It's a farming instrument to plow. It's called a
Yes.
plow, I guess.
Yes, that one symbolizing agricultural land, which is huge. Agricultural opportunities here are huge, like production of macadamia, peanuts that is exported all throughout, going to different European countries and outside of Africa as well. So there's a lot of,
Peanuts. Did you say
yes,
peanuts? I love
yes,
peanuts.
yes. So, like, peanuts here, it's peanuts. In the true sense. So yeah, it's great opportunities for agriculture and also studying, and yeah, so that's where I
There
think
is
it's
also a
the
book
vision
here.
behind.
There's a
Yes,
book,
which,
and then there's a sort of a communist star. So yeah, book along with
yeah.
guns and plow.
The book symbolizes study and education, so that we will protect and invest in the education of the country. That, remember, this was a flag that was drawn during those time where our forefathers, they were dreaming about these things, and they
Hmm.
wanted to put this message forward to the whole world to see that we are a nation that is investing in education, that wants the best, for our youth to grow and grow in the knowledge and wisdom. So this was their dream. And right now we are living the dreams of our forefathers to have independence, to be able to study whatever we want to study, to be able to choose whatever we want to choose, our independent, regardless of where we were born or of our past. So yeah, we are living their dreams.
And your colors on the flags are very similar to that of South Africa.
Yeah.
Do you have the Zulu people in your region also? Because I believe these are the colors of the Zulu people.
Yeah, like, if there's the Bantu people. So if you think about it, Southern Africa, it's kind of, our languages are kind of similar. You can speak a certain language, for example, Ronga, which is one of the local languages spoken here in Maputo, right? Someone who's coming from South Africa, they can take they can understand a little bit, the main parts, or the main crux of the conversation. So our languages are quite similar in that sense, so that facilitates as well, because we are part of the whole community, like SADC, the development region. So we are one, like, I don't want to say one of the same, but yeah, we are like
Hmm.
cousins and brothers, and we are together in this.
You mentioned Bantu. Ubuntu is a operating system like Windows. Did you know that? Ubuntu.
Really?
Yeah.
Nope, didn't know.
That's what came to my
Now
mind when I first heard that.
yeah.
How many languages you speak?
I speak mainly two languages, which I'm not proud of.
You're not
I,
proud.
s-
You're
I'm
not
not
proud.
proud. I'm not proud
Why?
of it. I could speak more because it's not something that I pride myself on saying because in terms of speaking the local language, I was not exposed to it while I was growing up, and it's not something that is taught in the schools. So when you go to school, you're either learning Portuguese or you learn English, and now you have other schools here like French school, like Italian school, so you can learn those languages, but the local language, the vernacular, it's not being taught. It wasn't taught at schools and my friends as well and at home as well.
Yeah, what
So we
language you
weren't
speak at home? What language do you speak with your parents and grandparents?
Portuguese. Portuguese.
Even your grandparents speak in Portuguese.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying like I'm not proud of it.
How?
Because sometimes they switch to their to the local language. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know.
So we have this segment about languages. Glad we are talking about it. What would you describe? How would you describe something as beautiful, or if you want to appreciate something in your language, how would you do that?
Describe something that is beautiful. Muito bonito. Oh, você é muito bonito.
All right. One one more activity. Can you please
Yeah.
close your eyes for us?
Okay.
Think of your favorite memory
Uhum.
and describe to us in your own language.
Praia, relaxamento, uma capulana estendida na praia, sobre uma sombrinha, com um refresco, uma Sprite e uma chamuça giris.
Wow, that was Portuguese, right?
Yes, that's Portuguese.
What did you mean? Now please translate that to us in
Ah,
English.
what if I was saying something indecent? Okay, no, I was not. I was not. I was not. Just for record. But what I was saying is being in the lying dormant in the beach, like with capulana, which is like a cloth that we use, like all the women use. So extended, like like a mat. So with a shade and having some snacks and a Sprite. I'm not advertising, but yeah.
Talking about beach and laying on the beach, how is your attitude towards sunbathing? That's very popular for the white and the light skinned people when they come to the
Yeah,
beach. How is it?
not for me. Like as I said, I need to have shade. If I don't have shade, then we're not gonna talk. I'm going. I'm packing up. So for me, if it doesn't have shade, like I remember the last time I went to the beach, I went for my birthday, and like I was like, I need to bring shade. I cannot just lie in the beach the whole day and burn. No, no, no. And I'm doing a skin treatment. I can't just be burning out here. So my
and
skin, I need to preserve.
and what is the fun activity that localites do on the beach? What is fun for them on the beach?
Well, I don't know their names. And they have like funny names. I think it one of them you've even mentioned snorkel. And then there's
Mm.
like beach okay, I'm gonna describe. It's not as if that's the right way of saying it, so bear with
You can
me.
tell the name in
Sea
the local
dive.
language and describe it. Okay, yeah.
I don't even know in the local language. I don't even know their. I
Sea
just like
dive.
know that sport. Yeah, exactly. Like sea dives, sea fish. What else do they do? Oh, boat rides. The people love that. Love doing that. What else? Also, entertainment in the beach because there's people who are selling stuff, people who come and just dance, for some coins. So that's usually what people like to do at the beach and relax, and some of them they love drinking in the beach, so that's a sport or an activity.
We share another thing in common. Digama had come to your place and then come to India and become the first
Mm,
European to travel these places.
to travel, yeah.
We had a person from Portugal with us on the show. We'll also have somebody from Brazil very soon. So we're talking about these Portuguese colony, even Angola. So
Hmm.
there's a part in India, very small, tiny place, couple of tiny places which have been colonized by
By
Portugal.
Portugal,
Portugal,
yeah.
but they don't. I don't think anybody speaks Portuguese in that. It's just the culture or what their religious sentiments have
I
come.
actually know someone.
Who?
I know. He is actually like, I think his wife is from India and she comes from the part that speaks Portuguese.
Oh, Goa.
So,
She's from Goa.
yes, yes.
Wow.
So, and their story was very cool, like pretty amazing. So, like, he met her there. Oh, she's from there. Yes. So,
He met her in Goa and they
yeah,
spoke in Portuguese.
mm, exactly. So they speak Portuguese and like perfect, eh? Perfect Portuguese. So,
Talking about Goa and the images I saw, one more thing is common is the cashew nuts. You get
mm,
I see the cashew nuts only in Goa in India, and the next time I saw that was in Mozambique.
yeah, you see, it's part of it connected.
I've I've never eaten the fruit. How is the fruit like?
What's it called? Um, in Portuguese, you call it cashew. Um, I don't know what's it called in
Cashew
English. I
apple.
forgot. Uh,
I
it's
guess it's
yeah,
called cashew apple.
really cashew apple. Yeah, because it does look like an apple. It's sour, if and sweet. Yeah, it's sour and sweet. Like the earlier you take it out, it's very sourish, and you if you stain your clothes, like if when you have a bite of it, and if the juice runs, like it can stain your clothes, and and can remain. I don't know if that's a myth, but yeah, it's difficult to take the stain out of the cashew apple. But
How
it's the more to the rotten side, the sweeter it is.
and the seed is outside, right? The cashew nut, the seed is
Yes,
outside
it
the
comes.
fruit.
It's like this, and then it comes the cash. Like it's like this.
So how is it like eating the fruit? Because you don't have to remove the seed. You just eat it.
Yes,
Like how do
it's
you
like
eat
it's like
cashew nut
eating.
fruit?
It's like eating a magnum. That's the best example I could give.
Magnum ice cream.
Yes. So like you have the whole stick. So imagine the cashew is the stick. It's tough. It's and then
Oh
you
yeah.
read the surroundings. Yeah.
That's such a good example explanation.
Yeah.
Hold the cashew as a stick and eat the fruit as a
Yes.
magnum or a chocobar as we
Yes.
call it. Wow,
Exactly.
that's such a cool fun fact.
Mhm.
Okay, I've got some images of cashew nuts.
Well, that's only
Yep.
one cashew.
So, do you like the cashew nut gravy also? Because that's something very common here.
Yes, that's the one I love. Show me if it's the right one. Because sometimes I'm like, did I say it in the right? Yes, you see, you eat it like a magnum. So that part is like outside, and then you just eat the surroundings.
Hmm.
It's called cashew apple.
I guess.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's
but you see,
ask.
the yellow ones are the soury ones, and the like reddish or
Red ones.
pinkish are like more sweet.
Hmm. That's another cool fact. Eat the
Yeah.
red cashew fruit.
But I really eat it. Hey, you don't just find it anywhere. It's funny.
Yeah,
I
that's
should.
another crazy fact about it because you cannot transport it. It gets bad really fast. That's what I've read.
Yes, yes, it does. Like it can get rotten like this. So you need to eat it like quickly. And you don't find it now. I'm realizing now that as I'm having this conversation with you, you don't just find it anywhere, like even in the supermarket or in the flea market. You don't just find anywhere.
So you
But I
don't
love.
find it, even if it grows there, you don't find it in the supermarket. You have to
Yeah,
have it in the farm.
yeah, yeah. Or you have like your local, farm, or you have a connect that will sell you to you, but you don't just find it anywhere.
Hmm.
Maybe Probably it's more common in the provinces that are being produced, because here in Maputo, I do not think we produce that, the cashew. So
In India,
it's
they
more.
make from the fruit they make a liquor called feni in Goa,
Mm.
the place you're talking about. So that's where the fruit is used in. But I'm really looking forward to eat the fruit now. And you should try the Mozambique.
Yes, we should exchange. If we could send it online and be like, whoop, and then
Yeah.
receive it from your side. Up to creating that.
Yeah, talking about sending things online and moving things around, you're in the supply chain. So tell us more
Yes.
about it.
Well, it's a passion of mine since I chose it in 2015, because I knew I wanted to do something related to business before I chose a course in my university years. And I was like, I don't want to do business management, and I don't want to do stats. I don't want to do economics. So I saw the option. It was even called BCom option, which is business commerce, bachelor's option, supply chain management. It wasn't even like, a whole thing. I'm like, oh, okay, let me try this on. And I went on also to doing research. I was like, this is an interesting area. You're dealing with procurement, you're dealing with logistics, you're dealing with distribution, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with supply. Like, I'm like, this should be an interesting area. And I did my bachelor's, I did my honors, and I did my master's all in one take. Like, pooh, in 5 years, I finished everything. So, what? Oh, I can't hear you. Mute. Yes.
What drives your passion in that? You love it so much that you have even started a podcast on that.
Yes, I drive it. My passion really is to see the development of the African continent through supply chains. And I believe that in order for me to see the development of the African continent, we need to get supply chains right. We need to get the logistics right. We need to get our partnerships, our different countries working together in that sense. Because one of the things that, even as I was doing my research during my honors degree, is that uh, we face the same challenges, but we are not sharing, in terms of knowledge and expertise. So, for example, it doesn't make sense for me, and it's something that has been complained a lot. Like someone um, from let's say the US, it comes from to Joburg to Johannesburg, and they get a visa for like 6 months, but it's difficult for a guy from Nigeria coming to South Africa, coming to Mozambique, because the visa process is extended. Like, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense for someone from another, let's say London or England, coming to Kenya, has an easy visa process, but for someone from the other African country to have a difficult time moving around the same continent. So these are the kind of issues that, with supply chain, with the agreements, with the policies, it can be changed, and we can become one, uh, and
One
develop in that
Africa.
sense. Yes, and I believe, and I'm completely for, and it's something that I will fight for the rest of my life, for one Africa, for us all to be united, because we will be a force to be reckoned when we do that.
Let's go. I totally believe that. You're such a young population, and it's a
Yes.
whole continent, and it's
Yes.
huge. It is rich in resources. You've got so many qualities and good people there. So definitely, if you all think alike and come together, I believe
Yeah,
it's
and it's
possible.
up to us, the youth. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the median age is like between 15 to 17. That's young teenagers, are representing Africa, basically. And if we don't invest in that education and taking it to another level with our youth, then what's it going to be in the next 10 to 50 years, so yeah, I'm saying hopefully we will.
So your dreams and passion are more like from a development perspective, like a politician or a leader. How is that related to supply chain, because when you think about supply chain, the first thing comes to my mind is transportation of goods from one to other
One
place.
point to another, you know. Yes. I wouldn't consider myself to the point of even being a politician, but someone has told me that I am an idealist in that sense. But why do I say, for me, the development, it really originates on getting the basics right, like moving your products. I had an episode recently, and we were talking about border issues, border congestion. It doesn't make sense that for you to move your products from South Africa to, let's say, Kenya, you have to stop 11 times. Like, really, we are in the same continent, and the border congestion is so much, sometimes to the point of staying days. The merch is stays days in the road because it's waiting for custom clearance, and even within going to different regions, and even within the same regions, the timing it gets to moving the products, it can be a lot. So in that sense, transportation issue becomes a problem. You can't develop if you don't get the infrastructure of transportation right. But that also is the same with infrastructure. Is the infrastructure there, technology in order to process the custom clearance, the products, because now you have suppliers from different countries, they have different technologies. Okay, you can say to one supplier, oh, I use SAP, my system is integrated, the other one is paperwork based. So how are you going to connect these two, so it's getting these basics right within the supply chain that we can move on as an economy as a whole. And that's why I'm passionate about promoting and telling the challenges that are out there in the supply chain and how some of them actually overcame those challenges, so that you don't feel like you're the only one who has transportation issues. You're not the only one who's having a supplier issue or supplier integration or technology integration issue. There's a lot of African countries that are facing the same problem. So why not learn from each other? You know?
Hmm.
So that's why I love it. Starting from supply chain up.
Talking about borders, do the countries have borders like wired fences and walls, or how is the situation there?
I can speak for all countries, but no, it's not like that, like higher fences. For example, like, because here, I'm just going to give an example of SADC, right? We have agreements in place. We are economic zone by itself. So we have
What is SADC?
preferential Southern African Development Community.
Okay, so it's a group of
So
Southern African nations.
exactly, exactly. So there is trade agreements in praise, preferential trade in praises. So we know how to deal with each other, how the goods roll. So for example, in terms of certain goods moving between countries, it's easier. The process, the custom clearance is easier because of the agreements that are in place. Not to say that it's perfect, but there has been steps taken towards optimizing the whole custom clearance process. So it's not like hard fences, like, no, don't come here. Even though there's a lot of people who come illegally, but at the end of the day, they are brothers and sisters. As I say,
Hmm.
Mozambicans, we are very welcoming, like warming. I don't think also we should like hard fences, wires, and everywhere. Like, come on. At the end of the day, these are people. If they are running from their country, it's not because they choose to. It's
What are the
there's a reason.
in these customs or transportation? What are the goods that have the most problem?
I wouldn't be able to say which goods have the most problems, but the ones that move often and I would say creates a lot of congestions are the minerals, because a lot of minerals are coming from South Africa. A lot of goods are coming from South Africa to Mozambique, and they use the port of Maputo as well as one of their main hubs in order to deliver goods to other African countries or even other nations abroad. So there's a lot of congestion. Sometimes, like, there's this road, which is the main road, really. It can be full of trucks. You just know that, hey, To travel from one point A to point B, it will take you hours because the trucks are in the road. There's a lot of minerals being moved. So those are the ones that I would say not problems, but they cause a lot of congestion because it's commodities. You're dealing with commodities and there's no trains at the moment moving. It's mainly the trucks that are doing the flow of these commodities.
I would prefer to be in a ship congestion more than a truck congestion.
Oof, I know. For us, like it takes hours. Sometimes they're like they have to create two lanes, like the truck lane and the civilian lane in the road
Hmm.
because the trucks they just get so busy.
And when they come to your port, is there the customs issue there also, the supply chain issues on the seaports as well?
Yes, yes, because it's the whole clearing system, you know. At the end of the day, there's a lot of investment that has been made as well, and I need to applaud for that. There's a lot of investment made on the ports of Maputo, the ports of Nacala, and the ports of Beira as well, which are the three main ports of Mozambique that have a lot of traffic. So a lot of investment has been made in terms of clearing those processes, but it's still, in that development stage
Hmm.
to become world class. But a lot of development has been made. So there's still the clearing that needs to happen.
I wonder, you have so many minerals and resources, and they go outside the country, get manufactured, and come back to you as finished products. So why don't, like, we should think of more ways to have industries which why
You're
do you
not the
hide your
only
face like
one
that?
because everybody says that. Like we know, like it's something that we know, and but I'm gonna take an unpopular route. When you don't have a strong hand in negotiation, and um, let's say I'm gonna give an hypothetical example, right?
You don't have a hand,
Uh,
but you got guns even on your flag. So
Maybe we should use them, but no. But it's the head in the negotiation because a lot of the companies that are coming to extract the mineral, it's like we're coming to invest, coming to extract, but it's gonna take time in order to invest on the training. They do invest on the training, uh, but it takes time to train the people in terms of knowing how to extract and building facilities here. So they're like, let's just take to where it already is established, and fast track the process. But I know I'm giving a poor example, but I know that it's something that we all say here, and I think it's like with all the African countries, not just Mozambique, with all the African countries, that's like, yo, guys, it's time for us to produce ourselves, to have the manufacturing for ourselves, instead of taking the resources to be produced and then be sold back to us. It doesn't make sense. It's ludicrous, but it is what it is.
yeah, we spoke about the same thing in the DRC episode. She
Yeah.
was also explaining and urging that promoting entrepreneurship and more innovation, I think, would lead to that. And in minerals, which are the top minerals that Mozambique produces or exports?
Now we have the phalange that is being exported. The natural gas. We have the graffiti, diamonds, coal. Yeah, precious stones as well. So those are the main minerals I would say, and then there's like the smaller ones, which I don't recall now at the moment.
So what contribute to more of your GDP, the jewelry, jewels, or the minerals required for industries?
I would say because also the aluminium, which has been contributing to the GDP for the longest, because the manufacturing plant is right here. So that one has been there for a long time. There's the gas, also kitchen gas. I don't like to say kitchen gas, but Okay, it is what it is.
LPG, liquefied petroleum gas.
Yes. So it's being produced in Japan as well. It's contributing a lot to the economy and the FLNG now, which it's something that it's started to produce since last year to be exported. So that one is like we're all like,
What is
yay!
that?
The FLNG, liquefied natural gas, floating liquefied natural gas.
Hmm.
Yes, so that's the big hope, I would say. That will bring a lot of
Beautiful.
revenue.
And what is the name of your podcast?
Your African Supply Chain Podcast.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you discuss on your podcast? What is the theme of your show?
So my podcast, I discuss all things African supply chain, really. And what I love about it is that I have different guests with different experience, people that some of them very well known in the industry, leaders in the industry, and not only in Africa but globally. They have a voice, so they have like, the experience, they have the voice. So all things African supply chain. That's it. As the name says, your African supply chain.
So the people who want to cross borders in their car and travel, like for tourists also, would that be applicable?
Yeah, sorry.
For the people who want to go on a road trips in Africa, should they listen to your podcast? Because then they'll know which countries has more restriction and border controls.
Yes, they should. Not they should listen to my pod, and they would know about the trends that it's happening in the African supply chain industry. They will know about what different supply African supply chain leaders are thinking, and not only that, globally as well. What are the trends that are happening? So,
What is the
and some
trend? What is the trend in Africa right now? If you could give an example.
right now, it's the whole point of African Free Continental Trade Agreement. So that is, there's a lot of aspects that are coming into it because it's the whole point is to join the African market. And a lot of conferences have been created. There's a youth conference as well in order to bring people to understand to the point of creating a single African market. And what does that mean? And that also touches on supply chain. It's something that I've brought guests on my podcast to discuss. And I always go back to this topic because it's really a passion of mine. Because after it would really take, it's the promise and the implementation that will bring together what we've talked about, bringing Africa together, one Africa. And in the business sense, it's not just kumbaya, but it's practically bringing businesses and supply chains together and working together to develop our economies. So that's a topic that I'm really passionate about in my podcast. And I think it's a trend as well in the African supply chain community.
When I was searching for guests from Mozambique, this industry was pretty dominant on LinkedIn, which the people working, professionals working in supply chain. Why is that so? Why is supply chain such a popular in and topic of interest amongst people of Mozambique?
Yes, because think about it. We have three major ports. So, and we are a country that is connecting and we are supplying to the other African in landlocked countries like Zimbabwe, Malawi, Swaziland, Botswana. So we supply goods to these countries, right? So a lot of logistics takes into place. And bear in mind that a lot of the people who are doing supply chain, it's not because like they went to school and study supply chain. That was came later on. They fell into it. And I think it's with a lot of people in supply chain, they fell into supply chain and they fell in love with it, not because it was something premeditated. So a lot of people here, they have that, like, okay, procurement. We need to buy goods and we need to import goods. So how do we do that? We need to deal with the transportation issues. The roads are not at its optimal stage. How can I organize my transportation in that sense? How can I optimize? How do I connect and take my goods to a very remote area? Like for example, you can find Coca-Cola anywhere. Even in a village, you'll find Coca-Cola, but that took what? Supply chain at its optimal.
It
So yeah, it's in that sense. People had to learn to do it in order to distribute the product.
there's a whole movie on Coca-Cola landing in a tribe. God must be
Hmm.
crazy. Have
I'll
you seen
watch
that
that.
movie?
No, no,
Have you
not
seen it?
yet. No.
So
All right.
there's this tribe which is completely remote. They don't have a lot of connection with the cities and all that.
Mm.
And suddenly a Coca-Cola bottle they find on the land. Maybe somebody threw it out of the plane or something. And it is just there. And everybody wants to use it. Some people make sound with it, some people use it for some other thing. And it starts creating tussle and fights between them. Like
Mm.
one Coca-Cola bottle divides the whole tribe, and there are a lot of fights and all on this.
Yes.
And then one person goes and just throws that bottle away, and like this was the root of all. It's a good, funny movie also to watch.
Okay. It's God is not crazy. It's
God must be crazy.
God must be crazy. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
have
God
that
must be
down.
crazy to drop this bottle here. But how? I wonder what is like. We all know about Coca-Cola doing these branding stunts, and they spend the most on marketing and branding of their bottles. But how has it been able to reach such small and rural villages, even in South Africa? How did they develop a taste for that? What have they done for the supply chain so that it reached all these places?
It's it really starts with the vision. And one thing that I like about these FMCG companies, right, like Coca-Cola or Unilever, it's like they're producing for the masses, and it's they don't take a very they have the vision, but they apply it locally. What's the condition locally? Because they use all means of transportation. If it's road, they will use road. If it's bicycle, they will use bicycle. If it's drones now, they will use drones as long as the product gets there. If it's doing small hubs and having people doing informal trade, how to distribute in that sense, and mobile payments, they will do it. They're willing to go that extra mile in terms of understanding who their consumers are, where they are, and meeting them at the point of need. And I believe that starts with understanding who your customers are. And I think also with like these big companies is that they get the first mover advantage. They were the
Hmm.
first ones to get there. They were willing to go that far. And the moment they went there, everybody now it's like they're loyal to it because that's the only brand that actually reached out to them. And a joke that we always say is Colgate. So Colgate, I think it was like a first mover in Mozambique. And to the point that people now are like, even if they see another brand, another toothpaste brand, no, 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 I want Colgate. They can buy even a different brand, but they'll say that brand is Colgate.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. It has gained that much recognition. Yeah.
So yeah.
They call bottles Bisleri in India and all biscuits as Parleji. That's how the brand should aim, right? Your
Mm,
you should have your brand so powerful that it just becomes a generic name for anything. Like Google has for search. Like just Google it. People don't say search it even if you do on Binge or some
yeah.
other websites. In supply chain, what are the main concerns or what are the problems you're trying to solve?
But I'll just pick like three or two.
Like what a person working in supply chain, what do they get paid for?
They get paid to putting down fires. I'm just being real with for all. If you're a supply chain professional, you know exactly what I mean. At the moment, it's putting down fires because, on my experience as well, we've had to put a lot of down fires because it's issue
No,
that arise at the moment. You
are you
know,
talking literal fire? Are you talking about literal
no,
fires?
no, not literal fire. Sorry. When I say
Maybe
putting
like a
down
go down.
fires, it's problems that arise, because it's like you solve one issue here. Okay, it's transportation. Oh, your supplier is having problem with this. Oh, it's not delivering on time. Oh, and then you have custom clearance, which is delaying your product to come in the countries. And then you have to deal with another issue. It's like multiple issues. You have to be able to juggle them at the same time. And
Hmm.
when you think about it now, and I'm talking about like in Mozambique, it's one guy doing, taking care of all of this. You may find like the same person who is in procurement is the same person who is managing the supplier, is the same person who is managing customs, is the same person who's managing the distribution. So it can be quite hectic. So, and when you're managing like these different areas, fires or problems, they're doomed to happen. But I would say the main problems that in supply chain just in general that they are dealing with is the supplier development, supplier engagement, innovation. Not every day we're having new technology coming up. Like, how does that impact on our job, like ChatGPT, the other AI tools that can be used in supply chain? And it's people can get a little bit like confused. Okay, oh, today is this, tomorrow is that. Like, I'm still trying to deal with my SAP, you know. They're still trying to deal with their ERP systems, and you have another other technology available to them. And machine learning, how that's going to impact the way we do our work, the way we structure our distribution and our supply chain. And another one which is critical is the supply chain is it's global, but it's becoming very local, because with COVID-19 we saw that globals are having a long chain of supply chain. When one link breaks, it breaks the whole thing. So it was very difficult for companies to deliver their products and to source their products. So now the strategy is taking it local. Yes, they have a global vision, but okay, let's see it regionally. Can we get the products that we can get regionally? Can we get the manufacturing regionally rather than just having a long supply chain? So these are the problems that supply chain professionals now are dealing with, and they have to solve.
Yeah, it's interesting to see whatever food we eat, whatever things we have, you
You take it
wouldn't
for
have
granted.
had that if it wasn't for supply chain. Everything
Yeah.
comes from different parts of the world. Even smallest to smallest food, grains come from some other place. Like imagine what things would you get just from 100-kilometer radius? And
Yeah.
imagine you just had to survive on that.
Imagine.
So you can't
Imagine.
do pretty much anything. So you got to
Yeah.
you need supply chain and a lot of transportation and free moving of goods is needed.
Yeah, exactly.
What is one thing you would like to change about your country?
I have to be careful with this one.
Sorry?
But no, I'm saying like I have to be careful in this one. I don't want to go for the obvious, but I think
You don't want to start a
one,
revolution.
all right, imagine. But one thing I would change, and I'm not talking about top down, I'm not talking about politicians only, is the fact that sometimes we're too complacent. We are too acceptable of things that we shouldn't be acceptable of, and we are too chilled for things that we shouldn't be too chilled, or should be restless about it. We should start and say no, enough is enough. And the thing is, we can be complaining and we're not doing anything about it. So if that's one thing I would change, is that complacency, and really to
From the
rise up.
government or from the people in general?
Everyone, because the government can do things and then the people can
Can you
be
give us an
acceptable.
example of what is the problem with complacency? Like an example.
I'll give you a hypothetical because I don't want to start a revolution. But like, for example, in terms of let's say um in minimum wage, you know when minimum wage, given the condition of the society with inflation, with prices, minimum wage could rise up in order to sustain that type of lifestyle. because we are living now, day by day, things are just getting more expensive, but wages are not getting higher. So
What
people
is the minimum
sometimes,
wage in what is the minimum
if
wage
I'm
in
not if
Mozambique?
I'm not if I'm not mistaken, it's like between, okay, I don't know how to convert that in dollars, but I think would be like $100. Yeah,
Per
around $100 per person.
per what month, year, day?
Yes, per month. Per month, if I'm not mistaken, like $100 to like 120, but it doesn't go over that.
Hmm.
So, and the lifestyle just keeps getting expensive. But one thing I like it about it is that people like are very entrepreneurial. It's like I can have my wage, but I need to have a business on the side. I need to have something in order to sustain because life is getting expensive. But also the government, they could do something about it. But because we are not like, no, you guys, we can be complaining, but then it's the whole thing of the stand. And, because we are very peaceful people and starting to make a whole strike confusion, it can be quite tough for us. So yeah, if there was one thing I would change.
Amazing. Okay. What what is a favorite wedding ritual?
A what?
What is your favorite wedding ritual? One wedding ritual that happens only in your community.
In my community, I think it's the next day of the wedding, where I'm not sure if it's only my community, but I think it's something that I've only seen here, where you'd have the is dowry, what you call that thing of like where the groom's family gives like a gift, like, money to the bride's family to take her in. I forgot the name. There's a name.
Dowry.
There's a dowry. Yes. So there's the dowry day, and then there's the white wedding. We call it a white wedding, where it's like the gown at the church, that whole party, and then you have the next day, which is called Shigyan, which is now the bride's family is giving the bride, to the groom's house. So that
Hmm.
party is organized by the groom's family. So it's like their handover. I can say like we are giving our girl to you.
You're
Yeah.
exchanging
Yes.
first dowry and then the bride.
Yeah.
In India, it used to be the other way. I was talking this with there's Lemmas also on the South African episode,
Mm-hmm.
but in India, in the olden times, now it is not that prominent, probably in rural areas. But the woman's family gives to the man.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna be guilty. I'm not sure if it was a good representation. I watched a Brazilian soap opera, and it was about India. So I remember.
Brazilian soap opera about India.
Yes.
How is that?
I
Tell me
know
more.
this. They relate to like Brazil is like champions in soap opera. Brazil and Mexico and all the whole Colombia. They're queen. They're really masters of that. Yes, they had a soap opera. They were relating. It was called the Journey of India, and it was relating, showcasing the Indian culture, like for example the dowry, where the family is the one that pays, and they like need to choose. And then there was the whole part of the caste, right, the subdivisions, like this is from a higher caste than the other one,
Hmm.
so the other ones were despised because they were not part of that. So it was that portrayal, really. And then that family came to Brazil, and they like started to become more liberal. Yeah.
So they were filming this in India, or they set up everything in
I think they did
like.
like a both. Like they started in India and then they went back to Brazil.
Hmm. I was thinking, why would that be the case for who gives whom? And it turns out it's maybe because of scarcity. There were
Hmm.
lesser women and more men in your olden days. That's why this relation. And in India, it was the opposite. Probably more women than men.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it is having a negative impact. Now, women have become much lesser, and there are problems in the northern states where people don't find bride to marry. So there's a whole
Mm,
crisis about that.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
You
I
must
mean,
come to Mozambique. There's a lot of women.
so when you hear when what is your first reaction when you okay, what is the first impression that comes to your mind when you hear India?
When I hear India, I think about the roads. The roads that have been showcased. Because, like, when they want to showcase India, they show how the tuk-tuks, and then the cars, and then, like, they're all coming together. So usually when, like, it comes in the news, it's like cars like this, people coming, and then the animals, like, I'm guilty, I'm guilty, I'm guilty.
So imagine how good is the supply chain there. Everything works even though it's a chaos.
But Indians are like good, like you in supply chain, hey? They're like the best. So
Yeah.
solving problems is in the nature.
Talking about this supply chain and roads in India, India is doing a really good job at that with the GST
Mm,
system of taxation. When so India is as big as Europe, and there are states which are as big as countries. So they have
mm,
their own rules, and when trucks have to pass through them, they have to
mm,
pay taxes. And they have used this amazing technology and tools that I would believe will help you if you study there. So they have these tags, fast tags for people who want to pass through the tolls.
mm-hmm,
So you don't even have to stop.
mm,
There's a machine that will just scan your tag, and the amount money will be deducted from your account. It just keeps moving. And I'm pretty sure there's equivalent for commercial goods also.
mm.
You can do that as a search thing, because what works here probably it can work there
We
also. There are
can
a lot of
work
people here.
here.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at that.
What is your favorite traditional festival?
I have a traditional festival. I really love the holidays.
Sorry?
I really love the holidays. Like we have a couple of them, like September now. I don't have a traditional holiday per se. Yeah.
Not holiday, a community event where
Fair.
people come together and have a good time, or something that has been traditionally been celebrated.
No, I don't have, to be honest.
You're a very city person, I believe.
Yeah. We're like my whole life I've lived in town.
But even in
So
city, even in cities, your family might be having something unique. Like, what do you do?
yeah.
Like, what is the time at the event where the whole family, your relatives, and everybody comes and meets? And what do you do
When it's a birthday.
when it's a birthday and a wedding?
Really? Yeah, and a wedding or a funeral. So those are
Hmm.
the times. So otherwise, more than that, it's really because if it's a birthday, we all come together, and it's generally like this. And then, I think more if you go to the rural areas where there is festivals celebrating Canyo, which is like a local drink alcohol beverages. So when it drops or when the fruits start to show, there's a whole festival that happens within the inner. I think it's the province of Gaza. That have this festival to celebrate the fruits, and then people come and they drink that local beverage. So it's to celebrate the culture per se. And
Hmm.
even if you go further up, like in the center, in the north, there are different festivals that happen, like different cultural dances where the people come together. Unfortunately, I have not been exposed to those cultural festivals, but they're definitely there.
I want to show some couple of photos that we usually do. When I search for culture in Mozambique, this is what came out. Do you have any idea what is put on the face and why is it?
Yes, that's Musiro. So it's taken out of I don't know how to explain, but it's something like cement. but it's not cement, please. It's taken out of a tree, where people put it in the face, and that's for beauty. And it's a very good exfoliator. Let me just tell you that. This L'Oreal needs,
Exfoliator.
yeah, like L'Oreal needs to study this, to be honest. It's natural, it's organic, so it's more of a culture. It's also as a beauty mark, skin treatment. So, yes, a lot of women, a lot of them, they use this for their skin treatment.
For the audio listeners, there is a white paste and there are designs done throughout
Yeah.
the face with that. And as she says, it's derived from a tree. And there's another version of this. There's a whole face covered with a yellow pigment of sorts. Is this also the same thing?
Yes, it is the same thing. Because sometimes,
Hmm.
depending on the way it was prepared, it can have that different effect.
And these are the other images of the tribes and locals. So colorful.
Yes. Yes, very colorful.
Wow.
Very colorful. And if you see there, they're all wearing capulana, which is the traditional, like if you think of a Mozambican woman, if you want to display, that's it. Capulana.
Kaplana.
Yes, that's the
Let
African
me
print. Like you can even show the last one. There's a lot of ladies there wearing that.
let me pull it up quickly. So is that a cloth wrapped around?
Yeah, it's the cloth.
Kaplana.
Yes, wrapped around the waist.
Is this what you're talking about, or is there another image?
Let me show. No, that's for
This
the
is
ton.
this looks like Kenya from the symbol, but
Yeah.
anyways, Kaplana,
Yes.
women of Mozambique.
You can put Capulana, Capulana.
Hmm. This.
Yes. Yes. Yes, that's Capulana. What is wrapped around their waist.
Hmm.
Yes. So women can go around. And it say that if you're a good woman, you must walk with a Capulana in your back.
So do you? How often do you wear one?
Good question. I do wear it, but when I'm at home, sometimes when I'm at home, and sometimes when, like, for example, certain places requires you to wear it. For example, if you're going to give your sentiments to someone, your condolences to someone, you go there with a capulana. At some places, like if you're going to cook, especially like in the rural areas, you can't just go to cook with your pants on or your shirts or your t-shirt or your shorts on. No, you need to wear a capulana in order to cook.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very cultural, very symbolic.
Beautiful as well. I had one question. I was looking at these photos. I've seen many Africans wear T-shirts. How did T-shirts get into the culture? Like in traditional, it has become a part of the
You
traditional
said
dress.
those ones. It's because it was political party, eh? Like it's
Hmm.
Frelimo because the ruling party is Frelimo. So that's because of probably during election season. You see a lot of
Hmm.
t-shirts distributed, but it's we love t-shirts, they're practical. But if you see a lot of like red and with the I'm forgetting the stick. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of that fruit. I'm
Fruit.
forgetting. It's not a fruit. I don't think it's a fruit. I think it's a plantain, to be honest. Corn. Corn. Because the symbol of the political party is a corn stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Ki- Corn is it staple? What is your staple food? Like what is eaten by everybody?
That's a food that everyone like.
What
It's
is that?
staple. It's corn flour cooked with water. It's like pap. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. Have you
We'll
heard
have to
about
check it out.
pap? Yeah, it's really corn flour, water, and then you cook it until it becomes really like a pasty, and then you put more flour. It becomes very doughy. Yes, it becomes very doughy, and then you eat it with like that with a curry.
Can you spell it?
Perfect. But it's something that is not eaten in Mozambique, but like South Africa as well, and in different. It's a regional food, I can say.
Hmm.
Mm.
What I can see is Dom Dia.
Dumb.
But yeah, anyways, you get an idea of it.
Yeah. Or
What?
pop.
Pop. All right.
Mm.
What is the best reason for tourists to visit? Like, what would you say people who are planning to come to South Africa or Africa? Why should they come to Mozambique?
I mean, did they see the beaches? The pictures that you showed?
Uh huh.
Like it's pretty amazing, and you'll be very well welcomed. There's no one that comes in here that have said like they don't have a really good time and they don't enjoy themselves. They don't have a great time together. It's a great place to also come with your family. Not only it's not only about the beaches, but you also can have safaris here. You can go on safaris. You have wildlife, vast because we have the Limpopo Gorongosa National Park that has a variety. If I'm not mistaken, they have Big Four. So Big Four, Big Five. I think it's Big Five. So they have a lot of variety. There's a lot of variety here in Mozambique. A lot of places to really disconnect from a lot of the fast life pace to more of connecting with yourself or with your loved ones. So if you're looking for that peaceful, calm, and a great time,
How is the
Mozambique is to be.
how is the peace situation there? Is everything fine, or are there still eruptions or revolutions happening there?
Well, there's the now it's not. I think it has
I'm
died down,
asking
but I
from the
don't want to
point
take.
of view is it safe for people to come there right
Yeah,
now?
it depends. It depends which region.
Depends on depends
Which
on what?
region? Which region
Uh-huh.
they come? Because they have been, of course, the terrorist attacks in the northern part of Mozambique because of the oil and gas industry that is developing there. So that has delayed also in some investments, some foreign FDIs commitments to Mozambique because of the terrorist attacks. But the situation is getting more controlled. But in terms of safety, general, looking at the other provinces, it's actually, I don't see any complaints. Eh? Like it's a chilled country, and I might be biased to say that, but in my opinion, for it's a very chilled country to visit.
You're a city dweller.
I am. I am.
What when I searched for fun facts of Mozambique, one of the fun facts that kept coming was it is the third most poor country of the world.
Hmm.
Why is that so?
That is a question I ask myself every day as well, Tanmay, because and it saddens my heart because we have so much in terms of resources, in terms like I think we have everything to be one of the top economies of Africa, like among the top three, no cap. Like and for me it doesn't make sense. But it all starts with leadership. If you can have all the money in the world, but if your leadership is not at its best or might not have the best of intentions at heart, you will lose that money just like that. So, not only talking about even over like not only to mention corruption and all of that, but it starts from top down, really, and not only government but also in all places of authority, because I don't like to blame government only, because government is reflection of the people. So maybe we need to look inward rather than also pointing fingers sometimes.
What do you think is the missing link? Is it at the top level or people there's a lot of corruption you see? What are the where does it drain out? Because just exporting so many important minerals. There is so much na- gas, oil and gas, which is also there. There should be wealth, right? But where does it distribute or Where does it escape from?
Yeah. I don't want to say people's pockets, but recently there was actually a whole, it was a very big case. It was court case for, they arrested some of the government official that were part of the debts, because at the moment we're still paying a debt to the
To
investors,
whom?
because to investors outside, because the money that was, we borrowed money and then we did not pay, and to buy like boats, but then these boats didn't appear or they are not up to the standard. So it's like investors are now what, like, and I want my money back, so now we have to pay them back. And then and these politicians, they have millions and millions stacked outside of the country and invested in foreign assets, housing, buying condominiums here. So there was a lot of money that was circulating at that time, and a lot of money is coming in and out, that I can tell you of. Where it's being invested, let's look together, because I'm also very curious.
What are your relations with Portugal?
Well, we have, I think, a very strong relationship with Portugal. There's bilateral agreements, if I'm not mistaken, as well with Portugal. It's very, there's a very high Portuguese population as well here in Mozambique, because again we're also a colony,
So they have
and
settled there. You have the white Portuguese settling in Mozambique. Is that
yeah,
what you
we do
said?
have, yeah, we have Portuguese people here that have businesses as well. Yeah, there's a great, like, a very good population of Portuguese
And with
here.
Brazil,
Brazil, yeah, they are, but I don't think as much as the Portuguese.
I'm asking because these are one of the top spoken languages, and we speak mostly English, and we get to watch a lot of American shows from UK, and we also produce a lot of movies and films which are in English. So you must
Mm,
be getting to watch a lot of movies and series that are made either in Portugal or in Brazil. Like
in
what goes
Brazil,
on your TV?
in Brazil, like there was the time of soap operas. I think now people are not much into soap operas. Now we watch series. Now we go on Netflix and all of that, because we're also very much interested, but influenced by American culture in that
Hmm.
sense, and foreign culture. And with the spread of internet and people having mobile devices, they're not bound by what the TV tells us to watch. Before, if you wanted to watch entertainment, it was like after the news, you sit down, you watch your soap opera, and you have your day. Now we can binge watch. Now we have it all on our phones. Now we
Netflix
have
and chill.
Netflix. Yes, Netflix and chill. So now it's a whole different scenario in that sense. So, and that's coming with the youth, I can say. So we're not only bound by Portuguese content, but now we are very much exposed to the English content from like America, UK, and different other, also Colombian, Spanish soap opera. So there's a variety of it.
Do you have those dances coming in as well, like salsa, bachata, or samba?
Yeah, we do have local dances. We have marabenta, which is very much Mozambican. We have panza. Um, what else can I? Yeah, shikumbadza. There's a lot of local dances in
So
here.
these local dances are couple or pair dances, or are they standalone, separate?
Standalone, really.
Okay,
Yeah, like you just dance in your own groove at your own time.
that's another. Yeah, I'm thinking how to show the dance. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe next time onwards we can do an arrangement where we can show the dance to the viewers who are
I don't want
watching
to
the video.
disappoint. And then,
No, I'm not
yeah.
asking you. I mean, just like from the internet. I mean, if
Yes.
some guest is interested, of course, that would be amazing. We had
Yes,
a
you
live
can.
performance. We had Des playing guitar for us in the South African episode. So why not? Uh,
Really? That I cannot guarantee all dance.
if you could transport yourself anywhere to the world, where would you go?
New York. I would go. I'm a city girl.
Sorry.
I'm saying I would go to New York. I'm a city girl. So everything that is like city wise, I would transport myself to New York, to the Big Apple. Yes. Maybe because
Hmm.
I consume a lot of content from there in terms of financial markets and all of that. But I would really love to visit and just to do like this. And I'm in New York.
Let's go. What are the biggest challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
In life,
Whatever you consider challenging, work, life.
I, well, I've had to come out of my Cancun a lot of times where um, I was a bit shy as a person. So even to speak, it was like, it was a problem. But I overcame that because I'm like, okay, one of the things how I overcame is because of practice. I had to be exposed. And that started even at school, like projects, presentations. I was like, okay, I need to speak. And and that came with practice. And now for me to talk, it's natural, regardless if they're the president of this country or they are or if they're a janitor. I can speak to anyone at the same time. So, but that came with practice. Even in hosting the podcast, uh, it took courage for me because I'm like, wow. I'm only 26. I was 25 when I'm only 25-year old. I'm just getting starting in this industry. What am I gonna be talking about? Who am I to have that voice in supply chain? But I overcame that fear of not feeling qualified, of not feeling worthy of the calling, I can say. And the more I practice, the better I got, the better I got, the better I got. So for me at the moment, to overcome challenges, sometimes we see it as a big bad wolf. But if you're constantly seeing the
Hmm.
big bad wolf, you will lose the fear for it. So yeah.
So, what do you want to do next? Like, what is your most passionate thing about life? Do you have any goal as such, or you're exploring and discovering as you go? So, we are on the signature round. Tell me three people, living or dead, that you'd like to have lunch with.
Hi, living or dead. I would love to have lunch with Samora Machel, which was, I can say, hero here in Mozambique who led the liberation against the Portuguese. I would really love to hear from him his perspective of how Mozambique is now compared to what his
Liberation
vision
with the
was
what?
against the Portuguese colony.
Hmm.
I would love to have a lunch with Mary Barra, which was, I think she still is the GM, if I'm not mistaken, of General Motors, because her story, I even read her book, it really inspires me. Would love to have her in terms of women. Like she's a woman in supply chain who, despite all odds, she came to be like the first female, if I'm not mistaken, in the automobile, like to reach that echelon in terms of position. And the third person that I would love to have lunch with, hmm, guys, maybe Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Okay.
He's he's an interesting person. I just love how he is. He doesn't care. Yeah, he doesn't care. Like
And he
he's
was,
not bound by people's opinion.
yeah. I love his drive.
That's to his beach.
I love his inner drive, and of course how about his confidence and how he doesn't care about others. And also, fun fact
Hmm.
is he grew up in your neighbors. He was in South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. I started in his hometown,
Oh, Johannesburg,
in Pretoria, which is close
Pretoria.
by.
Okay. There's a second part to this question. What question would you ask them? So, what one question would you ask Elon Musk?
Did you think, like, did you always had this vision before um you are like to where you are right now? Was this always what you wanted to do, or where you wanted to be? Would you have you imagined this to be the path that you would take to reach, to be the richest man in the world, or did you just stumble upon it? And I think it describes it in his book, but I haven't read it yet. So,
I have read it, I've been following him also. I believe he had this drive and this mission 20 years ago. Even when he was young,
mm,
he had a sort of idea about doing something in sustainable energy or space. So he's been
mm,
pursuing that consistently, no matter what. And the best quote is, if something is important enough, do it even if the odds are against you.
yeah,
So he just does it. That's amazing. Yeah,
do it
glad.
even if the
Thanks
odds.
to you for reminding me that.
Yeah, you're
What
welcome.
question would you ask Mubara,
Sorry, who?
the second person you named?
The Mary Barra. How did you manage it all? Because she was in a very, very, very demanding industry, and she still had a family, and she still managed to do everything excellently, I would say. So, as a woman, how did you manage to balance it all? And not be
Hmm.
guided by knowledge? Because sometimes people think that they should put you in that position just because you're a woman. No, but because you have something to prove, because your work speaks for itself. And that's one thing that she emphasized in her book, like her work spoke for herself. So it was not because she was a woman that she got to where she was, but because she worked really hard to it. So for
I
me,
always,
like how
I always wonder
yeah, yeah.
about working women. Like, how do they achieve such great heights in spite of having kids and like taking
Yeah.
care of the jobs and kids at the same time?
Yeah. So it's for me it's something that I'm curious to ask her.
Hmm. Yeah. Let me know what you ask. And what would you ask the first person you named?
His vision.
Can you repeat his name?
Looking Samora Machel.
Hmm. What is one
Yes, I
question
would
you would
ask,
ask?
like, when he was liberating Mozambique and looking at it now, was this the vision that he had in mind or not?
His vision
Yeah.
is quite clear on the flag. Don't you see?
Right? Guns,
Yeah.
books,
Yeah.
and
And
a
farming.
flower,
Yeah.
guys.
Did you have an armed rebellion? How was that? Was How was the liberation? Was it armed? Did you like
Yes, it
go on a
was.
war with Portuguese?
Yeah, it was armed. Yeah.
And then there was another armed civil war, sort of, right?
Yes, another armed one. Yeah, we've been dealing with guns,
Now is it a
AKs.
democratic government? How is it? What kind of government it is?
Yeah, it is democratic. Now it's uh, mainly run by two major parties, political parties, Frelimo and Renamo. So they are the major ones. And then you have the smaller parties, depending on the region,
You
but those are
mentioned
the
one of the
ones.
party's symbol is a corn. What is the symbol of the other
Yes.
party?
I think it's an eagle, if I'm not mistaken.
Eagle.
Yeah, I think it's an eagle. Yeah.
All right. Is eagle a popular bird in Mozambique?
Funny enough, no.
What is
We
your
don't see
national
eagles.
bird?
Do we have a national bird? I see. I don't think there is a national bird, but I don't know their name. I just see them a lot. really. It's
Lockets
like a
and rings.
small one.
Okay. Spiritual connotations, I believe.
It'll be quite delicious as well if you eat.
do you,
Yeah.
what do you think about art? What does art mean to you?
Well, art is very abstract. It really depends on who is seeing it. And with art, for me, there's no right or um, wrong answer or interpretation of it.
Hmm.
And for me, that's why I think with poetry, because poetry as well is hard. I had a hard time in school because I'm a very black and white person. And for me, I see things in zeros and ones.
Abstract is difficult.
Yeah, abstract is difficult. It's like open to interpretation, but in business as well, it's really open to interpretation. It's really how you see it.
But you need
But
both
I had
kind
to
of
adapt my.
people. We need both the kind
Sorry?
of people.
Yeah, you need both of them. So for me, art it's really what makes for me a country beautiful. It makes a culture beautiful. It just makes it beautiful, I can say. Yes, you have the hardcores, but then it just makes it beautiful. It makes it
Hmm.
colorful. It makes vibrant.
Next question. Ready?
Yeah.
How to make money?
In Mozambique,
In general, it's open-ended question, subjective question.
there is the abstract part. But I think in our days, you make money by adding value. And for example, I'm just going to give an example here in Mozambique. A lot of people are making money by being intermediaries in terms of finding, either if it's finding cars for people, finding houses for people, assisting them finding houses, assisting people to rent their houses, um, giving them trainings as well. So I think with now how to make money, it really is answering to the people's need.
Hmm.
What is their need? For example, even editing CVs, it's a way of making money. People have busted CVs, if you would think, if you would imagine, because people don't know. Even
Intermediaries.
LinkedIn, optimizing LinkedIn, that's a business, you know. So, but that's all about what, finding the opportunity where there are people, they do need assistance with that. So it's about you having the eye to see it and the willingness to invest.
I totally agree with you. And the internet and platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, or Freelancer have made it so easy because we are expanding team at this podcast, and it's so nice to get people around the world for helping out in
Yeah.
all the things, whatever things you need. What is the best advice you ever received?
Best advice I've ever received. Be consistent. It's short and simple, but be consistent. Even when it doesn't look like nothing is happening,
Hmm.
and that for me was a lesson, especially when I started my podcast. And sometimes you're like, you want to see something that my mentor told me, like you are very much driven to wanting to see numbers first, or wanting to get that viewership up. We as podcasters, we're tempted on that. But one thing she told me from the beginning is that focus on quality and focus on content. And that's exactly what I did. So I wasn't really caught up on the numbers. Up until today, I'm really not
Hmm.
hard caught up on the numbers, but I'm hard on the content. I'm hard on learning and adding value, because I believe that if you add value, then you will never run out of opportunities. I can say, like, even for my podcast, like, I've managed to go like to conferences,
Hmm.
to attend places that I wouldn't otherwise be if it was not via the podcast. But because I continued, I pressed on even when it seemed like nothing was happening. So being consistent is the best advice. The hardest thing, but the most rewarding thing to do.
Absolutely. And yeah, it has many benefits and many things compound. And like you said, you admire Elon Musk. He has also been very, very consistent with his core beliefs and thoughts. What is on your bucket list
Yeah,
next?
I really want to do skydiving. I think I should do skydiving. But
And
I did what you call that thing? Does this?
bungee jumping
No.
with a rope,
That one is
with a rope on the legs.
no. Yeah, that one no. I cannot. I need to do skydiving first and see if I don't die first. Then and then I'll do bungee jumping. I'm forgetting the name. It's I'm remembering in Portuguese, and
Express,
now I'm just
explain
like
it, explain it.
it's that machine where you go like two and then you go up and down. You're
Roller
sitting
coaster.
roller coaster. There you go. Yes. Recently, I've only done recently really roller coaster. I was like, oh my gosh. But I wanted more. It's the adrenaline, right? That kicks in and at that moment, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. But I didn't die. So I think I should do skydiving and then next step is bungee jumping. That's if like I really don't love my life, but
Imagine,
honestly, guys.
as you're seeing, I was just imagining you do a skydive, you jump from the plane, you skydive, and then go deep sea dive, like in one jump.
What? No way.
You can do both in Mozambique at the same time.
Imagine my soul will leave my body. It would just leave imagine me directly to the sea and then swimming with no, one thing at a time.
So you'll have to be wearing those fins and goggles and have that medical oxygen tanks when you're jumping to the doing the skydive. So yeah, you
I
disconnect
don't
the parachute and then go to swim with the fishes.
Yeah, that's too much adventure for me. I think you should do like one thing at a time. Like focus. If it's skydiving, you focus on skydiving.
Sky-
If it's sea diving, like you focus on that. Step, not combining things. And then when things go wrong, and then you jump into the sea where there's sharks there. No,
what
thank
if you
you.
land on a shark? So you can
Imagine right into their mouths. Imagine.
no, you could land on their back also. Then you would become a shark rider or a whale rider.
Yeah, that's you even know that that's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
That would never happen. They will eat you alive right there, your meat there. And then you what? You took your life just because you wanted to try something new.
No, it's fun to think and contemplate. I guess the Red Bull guys should listen, and these are ideas for them. You could try.
These are ideas for their marketing campaign. We'll have the ideas. We just need to register our ideas so that if they steal it, we know where to claim.
Exactly. We need to patent it.
Yeah.
What gets you excited about the future?
It's the young people. And I think we are so innovative now that we are very smart and we're getting smarter. Like each time we're getting smarter and smarter. And that's what really gets me excited to see young people standing up and doing what they really like to do it, not because
Hmm.
their mom, their dad told them to do that or to study that, but because it's really what they love, being in arts, being in business, be it in music. Like they can do whatever they want to do and they're earning a lot of money by being themselves. So that's what I'm excited.
How do you see yourself from 10, 20 years?
Feel that question in 10, 20 years. I sit myself, I'm like,
Are you open
Stella,
to the
what you
option of not being in the supply chain, or are you sure that you're going to be in the supply chain for the rest of your life?
the way things are changing, hey, I can't say that I'll stay forever or if I will not. My wish is to stay. I love supply chain and I think there's so many opportunities around it, but who am I to say what's gonna happen in the next 10 years? The way things are like who would imagine COVID, and it changed all of our lives.
So in supply
So
chain, what do you find as fun? Like, what is the best thing you enjoy at your job in supply chain?
connecting with people. Because supply chain is also about people, connecting with people from different places. You get to talk with suppliers, you get to talk with service providers, you get to meet people from different cultures, you get to interact with different teams from all over the place, from all over the globes. For me, one of the beautiful things about supply chain is collaborating with people from
Hmm.
anywhere, really. So that's the fun part.
What do you like to do for fun in general?
I have a whole scenario in my head lately.
Sorry?
What I've been late. I have a whole because a whole scenario in my head lately. What I do, what I consider fun, because I don't have a lot of these moments. That's why I'm gonna say that this is my fun moment. I love Friday nights, just sitting in my bed with some packets of chips and watching a series. That is heaven. That because I don't have those moments. Like weekends are so hectic. Like I'm working, or I'm working on my business, or I'm working on the podcast. Like I'm always doing something. There's always a commitment during the week. Ooh, events and meetings that I have to attend to. So it's quite hectic, and I don't get to do that often. So for me, just to stay at home,
Chill and Netflix is the
corner,
best.
like just like
Drop
that's it. That's
everything and
happening.
relax. S-
That's
So
happening.
in your weekly job, are you working for a company or who are you providing consultancy? What is the work like?
Yeah, I'm working as I do have a day job. I work for an oil and gas company, and yeah, on part time also do podcasting, and I am also an editor for like CVs and optimization of LinkedIn. So yeah,
Ah, so that's what you're saying. The way how to make money ideas. Oh, I get it. What? So give us some tips on optimizing LinkedIn. One tip.
one tip that people forget is how can not putting a picture of themselves. You
Not
think
putting a
that's
picture of
standard?
yourself.
Yeah, they don't put pictures of some of them. They don't pick pictures of themselves. Like, how are we gonna discover? How will we know that it's you? You know, might be dodgy. I don't accept people who don't have pictures of themselves.
How
Like
will you
when
know
they
if you're
send the
human or
connect.
AI?
Exactly. So, people, if you're listening and you don't have a picture on your LinkedIn, please go put something.
What is the most
If I know.
strange? What is the strangest profile you found on LinkedIn?
Hey, I've had to redo a whole LinkedIn. Hey, like from top to bottom. The person didn't have any connection and like nothing. Like it's as if the person, when people create fake Instagram accounts to just follow other people or to stalk them. Yeah, I felt like that person had created their LinkedIn like that. Like
Oh,
there was nothing. I had to do the whole thing,
you
from
know what?
scratch.
For me, the most strange and surprising profile on LinkedIn was when I was searching for Somalia. There were literally pirates there. They prof- their profile has graduated from the pirate school of Somalia. Skills: hacking, kidnapping, extortion.
You are lying. You are
Their photos
lying.
with
No
AK-47
way.
on the, yeah. You check it out. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh, I haven't found that.
It's crazy.
I haven't found that.
Okay, what is your favorite movie?
I don't have a favorite movie
You
at
like to
all.
binge. You must
I don't
be
have a favorite.
having something favorite.
Like I binge once and I'm done. Like, for example, what I'm watching. Let me just say what I'm watching. I don't usually watch movies. The last movie I watched was what? I think it was Fast and Furious. That was the
So you
last
watch
one.
more of series. What do you watch when
Yeah,
you're
I'm
chilling
very
on
much of a
Saturday?
see. I love watching Billions. Um, I love watching The Blacklist. I watch only American series. I think it's easier for me to find them as well.
Do you read? What is your favorite book?
Currently, I'm reading a book about supply chain leadership by Radu Palamario and Nat Alik. It brings a lot, it brings different supply chain leaders from across the globe and talking about their supply chain experience, their supply chain leadership tips. So that's a nice book I'm reading at the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being our show guest today. It was so nice to learn about Mozambique and supply chain. And you're such a jolly person. We had a good laugh today. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Any parting word for the audience?
For me, and the parting word is that just uh, life is too short, and I know it's cliche, but life is really too short for you to be not living your true potential, your true dreams. If you told me 10 years ago I would be doing podcasting, I'm like, what? What is that even? But look at me now. So never think that you're too young to do something or you're too old to start something. If you want to do it, just do it. And don't think about what other people will say or they tell to you. So you live your own life, you on your own lane, you are the pilot of your own life. So that's my parting word.
Amazing. Thank you. How was your experience today as a guest?
A great time. I had a great time, really. The questions, I'm like, none of them I knew it beforehand. So I was like, woo, I need to wing it. But it was a joyful experience. I really enjoyed myself. It was a challenge, like not a challenge, but it was a good challenge for myself, to think on the spot, to say what really I think, not having a whole rehearsed answer,
Hmm.
but really go with the flow. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. Best wishes to you. And your podcast is going to be definitely the world's best podcast on supply chain. So, anybody of you
Thank you.
watching who's interested in supply chain or it comes up in a conversation with a friend, recommend them to Stella's podcast, which is called Your African Supply Chain, isn't it?
Yes, your
Let's go.
African supply chain
If you
podcast.
want the world to see it, you'll have to change the name. You'll have to make it global.
Right, like your global supply chain.
Yeah,
But it's now I'm focusing on
you're
I want
focusing on
them to see
Africa.
Africa in a different
Hmm.
light.
Then go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
do
want
it,
them.
do
I
it.
want the world to see Africa in a different light. So
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go, Africa, one nation. I wanted to say a point. I
yes,
was seeing reel on Instagram. That person, a politician, was saying all the European countries have this Europe and they have this free trade agreements and everything moves so
yeah,
easily and smoothly everywhere. But Europe wants
yeah,
Africa to have borders and restrictions among themselves.
yeah.
So he was like, we should
And
unite.
that's what we're fighting against. That's what we want to unite. If we get to have an agreement just like the European Union, yo, a lot.
Stella, this episode is brought to you by Tanmay Shah. That's me. Best way to support this show is by sharing this with your friends and dropping a comment and review on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can become my patron and a sponsor. That's not all. You can buy Rocklaz merchandise and NFTs and much more. See all the links in description for details. Rocklaz Radio with Tanmay Shah.
Rocklaz Radio.
Rocklaz.
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 Rocklaz Radio with Tanmay Shah.